You know what kind of movies I like? That's not a question, but an answer. It's the kind of movies that center around very little, barely focusing on any subject. Examples like My Dinner with Andre, and The Blair Witch Project, and The Last Days in the Desert. Even Clerks was about the bare minimum. They're movies I like to call the anti-epic. And out of all of them, my favorite was the long-forgotten Hell in the Pacific. Think of the movie Castaway, but plus one. And it's really just the barest primitive story of man versus man. Set during World War II in the Pacific, two soldiers end up stranded on a desert island. One American, one Japanese, played by Lee Marvin and the other Toshiro Mifune. And that's it. There's really nothing else to say. It's well acted and well shot. Plenty of isolation. It's like the whole scale of the conflict has been shrunk down to just these two soldiers fighting it out. It may seem kind of boring to some people, but the full genius of this idea comes from being lost in translation. There was no subtitles for this movie. To give you a better understanding, when this movie was played in America, they didn't subtitle Mifune's dialogue. Like in Japan, they didn't subtitle Lee Marvin's dialogue. English and Japanese audiences will really understand only 50% of the story. It kind of makes you feel like you're in their shoes. Both Marvin and Mifune were veterans of the Second World War. And what I'm aware of is that they had great respect for each other, despite being on different sides. Even though they're pitted against each other, they know that it's not just about winning, but survival. And actually having to work with each other to get off the island. It almost feels like it's transcending from a war movie into a peace movie. It is quite powerful like that. After you see this movie, I suggest you find the alternate ending that they didn't use. You'll know what I mean. And that's why it's my favorite anti-epic.